time for me to think a bit. I think it's time to sit and scramble through the facts.
Welcome back to A Musician and a Filmmaker. Today we're joined by a person who goes by the name Studio Sparks or Sparks Studio, but actually, what is your first name? Because it's not anywhere on your social media.
Oh yeah, so my name is Lucas, and Studio Sparks. It's me and my girlfriend Christina Figueiredo.
Well, welcome to the show,
I'm,
Lucas.
oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite.
It's always cool to be able to talk to anyone that's collaborated with our favorite band because they're
our favorite band.
Our favorite. Well, this is the official Animal Collective podcast now. We're the only one that exists.
Oh yeah.
So
We outlived the competition by
Congrats.
perseverance.
determination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I also love your episodes talking about movies too. So you became one of my favorite new podcasts. So I'm a fan too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I like
Wow.
I also like the one where you guys talking about the Blink 182 album. Yeah, I like how random some episodes are. So congrats for for the podcast, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
just
well,
we
they
just
get
talked to
pretty
Danny
random.
Perez yesterday, so
Oh yeah.
exciting.
Oh cool.
although that's gonna
Cool.
air after this episode, so sneak peek for the viewers
Yeah.
when this gets uploaded. But anyway,
Oh, that's
so
great. Yeah, Danny is a huge influence to me, especially like Oddsac. Like
Yeah, no, it's we'll get all into this visual stuff, but let's get a little glimpse of how you, Lucas, got involved in the world of Animal Collective, because you were a fan before you started working on projects, right? Like you were on Collected Animals and stuff like that, right?
yeah. 'Cause I'm from Brazil, so everything started when I was still in Brazil, and I came to Portugal when I was 23, and yeah, I was at the forum when I went on the message board when I was I don't know 20 around 19 around that, and I remember when Pete Cameron when Sonic Boom started writing there, and I don't know if you guys were there at that point. I imagine you were
I
during
was, yeah.
Yep.
Tomboy. That was crazy, you know.
Oh, he goes back to Tomboy.
Yeah,
I thought he only
Tomboy.
started posting during the Grim Reaper era because that's when I joined the forum and
No,
became
no.
aware of it.
If I remember clearly, I think him or somebody posted on a MGMT message board the track list for Tomboy and announcing that he was part of that too, because he previously had worked
Right.
with MGMT on Congratulations, and then people were there because I think everybody was curious to hear Tomboy, and then who is this guy, Sonic Boom? Some people knew about him, of course, because of Space Tree, but they were like, who is this guy who is like touching on Noah's thing and putting instruments and stuff like that? And then I think that's because of that response that he started writing there. And I don't know if at that time I wrote to him, but surely during the Green Reaper era, when I was already here in Portugal and I saw Noah playing here the album, and a friend of mine, she recorded that concert. He asked me if I had that recording because they are putting together. I think they had a plan to release like live versions, but I think she ended up losing the file, and I never heard the file. So that's how I like started talking with him online until the COVID era, until like 2020 when he was releasing his solo album, and we started collaborating.
That's All Things Being Equal, or
Yeah,
is that what it's
yeah.
called? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I came here to study visual arts, and then I got a job here in Porto, like the audio visual in like doing commercials and stuff like that, and I I worked since then on that area, on like a newspaper here, stuff like that. But when COVID hit, I was pretty unhappy with that, and I think the artist in me, the thing that I study, I think I was feeling a need to express that, and I was like during COVID, my job was like to put the number of people that got infected, and people who died. It was like really depressing stuff. And also I had a lot of free time. So I'm also a fan of Marco Papiro, the guy who does the cover arts for Pete and he did Reset and he did the Green Reaper. I really like his work. And I saw the artwork for All Things Being Equal, and I was like, oh, that would be cool to animate that. So I did try to recreate that, send it to Pete, and I was not expecting anything. I was not expecting to even open that, but he saw that and he liked it, and then he asked for more, I guess.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
so awesome. So, like, how
Yeah.
did that translate from getting to Pete to like you did the video for Bridge to Quiet, you
Hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
was it like was it word of mouth from Pete telling the guys in AC like, "Hey, you got to get this guy. He did some animations for me, and it would be perfect for you guys." Or how did it work out?
No, that was so I did the first one that we did was actually the song with Noah. It's called Just a Little Piece of Me.
Mm.
It's Pete and Noah. So I did that one, and then I think I felt that I found the thing that I really love to do. I was like, oh, I really love doing that. But then it was gone, it was released, and I was like, he doesn't need me anymore. The album is already released. This is the end. So there was one song on that album called On a Summer Day that I really loved. And I was like, I'm going to do an animation for that in 3D. And if I'm just going to do it like as a short movie, if he doesn't like it, I would take his music and I do the soundtrack with sounds or stuff. Just do it by myself. So I did that and I sent it to Pete, and then Pete was releasing his remix version of that album, and he really loved the animation, and I think the label really liked that too, and they were like, no, we want to use this for that. So after those two things, I was like, no, that's something that I really want to keep doing. And then I saw that the band was releasing Bridge to Quiet in vinyl, and I messaged Josh. I wrote to him and I said, because I knew that he and Pete worked together on the last song on his album. What's that one again?
Good
Good
House.
House.
Good House, yeah,
Classic.
sure. Yeah. And I just messaged him and I was like, oh, I've been doing this stuff for Pete. And if you guys, I know that you guys are releasing this, maybe you like a video for that. And he was down. I think it was a mix of like it was a good timing, and also he saw that I was already doing stuff. I already kind of, even though it was our only two videos, it was already something for him to see. So I think, yeah, I think that's it. It was through Josh.
Be humble, wish you could. To
That gave me, but it was a mix of like I was super happy, but that almost destroyed my brain doing
It's a
doing
lot of
that
pressure.
video. A
I can
lot of
imagine.
a lot of I remember having like a Zoom with my psychologist talking about that. I cannot. I think I showed him on Zoom what I was doing because it was so. Yeah, I think I did and deleted and started again like 4 or 5 times because I was
Wow.
not. And even like today, I like that video. I'm very happy that I did that, but I still have like a bad memory with that. But I think yeah, I think people like it, I guess.
It's a great video. We were just talking about it actually before the podcast started, and yeah, I mean, it's an interesting album. Or I mean, we've made that thing like, is it an album? It's like 40 minutes long, but technically
Right.
it's an EP. But
Campfire
it's
Songs is an album.
yeah,
It's 5 tracks, so it's whatever they say it is, I guess.
yeah. But
I
yeah, it's
really
an
enjoy
interesting
the
project.
use of colors in a lot of your stuff, or all of it, I guess, because like yeah, even the Bridge to Quiet video, just all the little like neon colored little critters that the big giants gotta move across the river. It's just like it fits so well with all the colors that come through in the sounds from all these guys' various projects. Even the frame of your setup right now, I can already see like most of the rainbow just in your apartment. So it's always really like your stuff catches the eye, and it was really like cool to see that you were following other fans of the Animal Collective and their solo stuff when the reset was rolling out. Because I saw that you followed me, I was like, oh, that's sweet. This guy's like actually working on their stuff. So it wasn't just like this guy's a hire. It's like no, he's part of the community and he's engaging and actually showing some the same interest that we do and the same sort of fanaticism we have for it. So like when it comes to the reset era, what was it sort of like, oh, I'm going to animate the cover art, and then they were like, well, why don't we do all this other stuff? Or how did that sort of go down? Because you basically did pretty much every motion graphic for even their like on stage visuals, right? Like
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
social media stuff and all that.
Yeah, just before moving to research, just want to say that like Chris, my girlfriend, she is part also of this work, and she's really good with colors, and she helped a lot with Bridge Quiet, and we used some Portuguese child books, like illustrated books, as an inspiration for that. Yeah, just want to add that. But yeah, with Reset, Pete was working on this album. I didn't knew, but then all of a sudden he told me that he because it was already like around COVID. For me, it was very surprising when I knew that he already had a remixed version of his album and also Reset. So we started talking about that before I even heard anything. Started talking to me about what he's been recording with Noah. And then I think he forgot to send me the album. So we kept talking, but I was like doing visuals, sending stuff for him, but I was like, I haven't heard the music yet. But I was like a little afraid to ask for it because I'm really like afraid like to leak stuff or talk more than I should and stuff like that. But then one time I was like, yeah, can I hear anything? And then he sent me the album and I was like, it was like the entire thing, and I was like really blown away because especially because I was not expecting them to go to the old sample stuff. Since Pete's album was so electronic, I was like thinking they were going on that direction, more like Green Reaper, and I was very curious that it was something in a way very similar with Person Peach, with the old albums. I think that first line, like a Coca-Cola in the system, for me, that thing was really inspired. I started seeing like red because of that, which is not a color that they ended up using. But I think the first thing that he asked us was those loops, the social media loops that we did to promote the album. So we started doing those things. And then I think a few months after, he told me about the idea of doing the Whirlpool video. That was all Pete's idea. which is, you know, Pete's really creative. He's like probably one of my favorite persons to collaborate because when he come to us with one idea, like the one we did for the mariachi version with the dancing cactus.
Peligro quando mi agarras así en Berlín.
That was all his idea too. And you know, he was talking me, oh, I want a cactus and I want like a mushrooms that look like ears. And you know, at the end of a conversation, I'm so like pumped to, you know, I'm enthusiastic, full of enthusiasm to do that. So then we did the whirlpool, which was, you know, pretty hard to do those underwater animations. And yeah, and then, you know, we kept doing stuff. We did some posters. We Domino asked us to do the live stream. Don't know if you guys were there. Like,
Yeah.
I think,
Actually,
yeah.
Oh, did you do the thing where they were like, you know, sign up and we'll send you one of these free posters?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
also have one of those here. Yeah.
I should
That's
have.
great.
I should have. I didn't. But I didn't want to be I didn't want to be selfish. I wanted. I got plenty of memorabilia as is. But no, I remember that stream because, like, I remember really enjoying the animation. I cannot say the same for YouTube's live stream robots. They really
Like,
did
the
not
bandwidth
like the
was-
fact that
yeah.
it was such consistent motion. But I was like, there is just like such a hypnotic quality to it that I was cursing them for ruining the illusion.
But you know what? Let me just say while we're talking about that reset listening party, like that was a very like awesome experience for me because my wife and I have these like onesies. They're like Panda Bear, like the animal onesies, and we wore them and we just like threw the reset live stream on the TV and smoked. My wife doesn't smoke weed, but I smoked enough weed for the both of us, and we turned it on, and it was like, you know, like what you were saying about how kind of blown away you were like hearing the album for the first time. You know, it was like that same thing. It was like, holy shit, this is like this sample based thing, and it's got this kind of like, you know, old school pop sensibility to it, and it's like it's so melodic. And I was just like every track as it went through, like every track, because I think at that point we'd heard
Go
what's
on.
it called? Go
Edge
on.
of the
Yeah.
Edge.
Exactly. So it was like, okay, these are good songs, but it was like some of the other ones where I was just like, holy shit, like getting to the point. Amazing.
And you know, on my side, when we were like directing that live stream, I remember telling Chris like when living in the after was about to start, I was like, people are going to go crazy with this one.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, that was really wild. But yeah, it's so cool that you know, all those visuals that I was intaking in my bloodshot stoned eyes were made by, you know, you and your partner. And
Yeah. We
I think it was-
learned a lot doing those stuff. I was not much into 3D. 3D was something that I was a little bit intimidated by for a while, and also, you know, softwares were pretty hard before like Blender, because Blender is like the primary tool that I use, and you know, it was a little the interface, the old interface was a bit hard to work around. So I was thinking like Whirlpool and the Cactus video, the one for the mariachi version, those they were like 9. Let's say that we took like 3 months to do. The first 2 months was learning how we're gonna do this, you know, how we will make, and then we only have 1 month to actually do it, you know. So yeah, it's good to, you know, those projects are cool because we also learn a lot.
Yeah. Especially under all that pressure. It's like, well, it's got to, when you have that due date lingering, it just
Trial
you
by
know,
fire.
You switch on and you just, you know, get in the zone. I've been there, but also like I can't imagine that amount of pressure, especially with someone that you look up to so much. But yeah, let's talk about the album itself. Though.
Yeah. Well, before
do it.
I have one question I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just one. Don't worry, Greg. So it won't take very long, even though I'm taking much longer by explaining all this. My question is, did at any point at the beginning when they were telling you about Reset, did did they tell you at the beginning there was going to be like 4 versions of this album? Or did you discover that along with us?
No, no, I didn't. No, I didn't imagine. After the release, I remember Pete telling me about the dub version, and then because all these releases, they also had a party in Lisbon that we went there because we live in Porto in the north, but during those releases, we go to Lisbon to meet him and also help Pete to put the screen with the projector and stuff like that. And then I was leaving the party and Pete he said and about something about the mariachi version, but then he was laughing and I didn't knew it that was a joke. I was like, oh, maybe he's joking that now they're going to do a mariachi version because they had the dub one. But then, like a few months after, it was true. Yeah. So I think it was a fun thing for them, especially seeing Noah singing in Spanish. I imagine that probably was pretty challenging for him to do that too.
Well,
yeah, he does a good job.
Well, he says that, like, not growing up, but living in Portugal for all these years, he's like, I can speak the language, but to a native speaker, I sound like a child. Like,
Yeah.
so.
But it's not even the native language of Portugal, though. Like, he's singing in Spanish, not Portuguese.
I know. I'm just saying his native language is English, Jordan.
Well, I know that. Yeah.
We're still missing. They're still
Or
missing
whatever
like
they speak in Baltimore. It's close to English, but
Yeah, it's a little.
But they're still missing like a Portuguese or a Brazilian version.
Yeah,
would be
they
cool
should
too.
They should do every language in the world.
the Swahili version.
The Swahili
of
version.
Reset. Farsi.
Reset in Swahili, yeah. Well, it's funny. I have so many. I feel like I have every copy because like when you're at the casino and you don't know what you're doing, you're just pressing buttons on the slot machine and then you win and then like a bunch of stuff pops out. Like I ended up somehow getting this many copies of like duplicates of every single fucking one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm rolling. I could like create like a panorama of Reset visuals around here.
You could have like a grid on the wall in the background. That wouldn't be bad to look at.
I still don't have the dub one. I missed that one. But that's
What do you
great.
think of the dub remix as just as a piece of music?
First, I thought it was samples. I thought that, since the original one was samples, I thought maybe they were using samples. So I was very surprised when I heard that they were actually re-recording that. I think some songs they went pretty different from the original, but yeah, I think it's a cool version to hear, especially like in the summer. It's a good vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a background thing. Yeah, because I feel like I do appreciate like the sounds that dub artists are able to conjure up with just like some basic effects, and it can be cool to hear like different versions of songs you're so acquainted to. But I feel like with Reset in particular, there's just like so much energy to the original that the dub version almost just feels like you popped a Xanax. And also sort of a thing that happens with dub is that like you get about halfway through, if they're doing a full album cover, you get about halfway through, you're like, I get it. It's a little shuffle kind of basic 4-pattern beat. So, I mean, unless that's really your thing and you can get into it, it might not be for everyone for sure. But
yeah, I think it's a time and a place kind of album for sure. Like I used to work at like a weed dispensary. Fucking crushed it there, man. That was like the perfect like background noise for that. But then again, there's like times where like I feel like when the original Reset came out, like I listened to it so much that like hearing just even a slightly different version of it was like a refreshing way to ingest it again.
Would you say that it reset itself for you?
This is why you're on the podcast, Greg. Quick.
Well, and it was my idea, but anyway, let's talk about the album. Let's talk about Reset by Panda Bear and Sonic Boom. The whole reason we're here now that we're, halfway through the episode.
We all exist because of this album.
We do. This was the first album ever recorded. They actually didn't use samples. They came up with them all themselves. No. you know what? I take umbrage with when people say that it's like person pitch but not as good. I'm like, it's not though. Like person pitch doesn't have all of these synths layered on top of it. Like it's just
different.
taking the samples and then adding effects and like getting the ephemera that way. But like they have such different purposes that they serve, and it's, I don't know, it just seems such a like a lazy comparison. I mean, it's like saying, hey, it's like the Beach Boys, which, okay, this album in particular can't really escape some of those comparisons. I get it. But again, it's just like, like, we've already been down all these roads, guys. Like, they're offering us, maybe it seems like they're retreading old ground, but this album has so much to offer just by itself. I feel like it gets written off more than it should.
No, I also think that Person Peach is way more experimental than Reset. I think Reset is pretty simple compared with Person Peach, and I think it was part of the idea, because I remember Pete telling about that they were creating that music to kind of like feel better during COVID, I guess. So the idea was to do something very happy and very bright and playful too. So I think it is supposed to be simpler than an album like that goes into a lot of direct. And for me, I think Noah did a lot of experimentation during Person Peach, and just comparing those two in that area, they are pretty different.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd say Reset's a lot more accessible. Like,
yeah,
I think,
yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
But it's also a lot more colorful. Like, just that's like Sonic Boom's sort of like specialty, is being able to take these sort of like, not necessarily melodic synths, but just like sort of enhancing the core sample with these sort of like textures and colors that make it feel like sort of kaleidoscopic and keep it fresh and keep the sample from growing stale. Even though most of these songs, they're really not that long. I think the longest one is like Edge of the Edge, which is like nearly 5 minutes. But that one has a lot going on, so it earns its length. But
Oh yeah, I
guess
thought it was like Whirlpool or In My Body. I thought they were longer than.
Whirlpool's
possible.
longer, yeah.
Well, I think actually
Everything's been
is
leading to this might be
it's like
the
five
longest.
and a half minutes, But it's I like this album because it feels brisk. There's only 9 songs, so they can take the time that they need to, and it still works. I think they're the only one that I would maybe cut down the length of if I were in their shoes. Is probably Go On, because it goes on a little too long. I did not plan that, by the way. But it is true. That's how I feel. And also Edge of the Edge, it seems there are a few, as someone that has made my own music in my limited amateur capacity, there are parts of it where I can be like, if I were arranging it, I would just like move this part here and not have this part repeat. So, but again, it's nitpicky stuff. It's still like the vibes are instantaneous, and it just, it's interesting to see how they were able to pull off songs where they clearly had a sample to begin with and then couldn't license, and then just ended up making it its own thing. Like, I think Every Day was a sample. Whirlpool, I think, had its own sample that they didn't end up using, and then The Closer. So, but the samples that they do use, they go pretty fucking hard. Because especially the Save the Last Dance for Me one and Living in the After. I mean, that is like not only the peak of the original song, but just like as soon as that like lead string melody comes up and just the beat starts, bumping away, it's irresistible. And the lyrics on that one are also, I think, my favorite on the album. Like the last verse in particular, just kind of summed up the entire COVID experience and sort of how that malaise and kind of I don't know, perseverance or like forced optimism that I guess ultimately ends up panning out. But yeah, it's just there's a lot sonically going on in this album. Again, no pun intended. But it's just a really enjoyable listen, and I don't know, I feel like it might just get left by the wayside just because Panda has such a prolific output. I mean, this is like his 7th main album in his solo discography alone, and not even including the other dozen with the main band. So But at the same time, it's just like in a vacuum, it's just a really great album, and I really get enjoyment out of re-listens. That being said, if I'm like in a particular mood, I'll just do the express version where I just pick my favorites, like Getting to the Point, Every Day, Edge of the Edge, Living in the After, maybe Danger if I'm feeling
dangerous,
adventurous. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I can do it too, Greg.
Go right ahead. But do you have any favorites on this album, like in particular, Lucas?
Yeah, just want to say too that I think because I am a fan of the work that Pete does with Noah. Like I know that's an area that like some people inside the discography. Some people prefer some albums, some people prefer others, and some people, get so into the live versions. Then when they listen to the studio version, they don't like that much. But I, I like how Pete elevates his Noah's music. Like it's hard for me to talk without like saying without going straight to examples. So I really love how Mr. Noah sounds. I remember when they released that one, it was such a it's kind of like a pop song. It sounded so grand, and then comparing that with like how they pronounce buoys,
Yeah.
buoys.
Yeah, buoys.
It's for me that album. I'm not talking about the songs because I think all the songs are especially that album. There's a lot of like beautiful songs, but I feel on that one that Noah it's so kind of alone in that one and kind of down there. While I think when Pete works with him, he brings the energy up, which I understand it's something that some people don't like, but I am a fan of what he does with Noah. So for me, I really like the first one. I think it's a great opener and straight to the point, indeed. And I understand the what you mentioned about Go On. I think it gets a little bit loopy after a while. But I think my favorite one that nobody like mentions that I think it's a really cool song is Every Day. Uh, Sometimes that song comes back in my head, and you got stuck there singing the every day little. It's something that it's a small song, but I think that says it's one of those songs that like kind of like daily routine, but that talks about pretty much the simpler things in life. But and then I really like the last one, like you guys mentioned, and living after the after. I think yeah, but in melody aspect, my favorite one is Danger. I really love Danger. Yeah, those are my favorites.
They're all really good. Those are all ones that I like as well. I was going to say that getting to the point, I actually had to figure out when my wife and I got married how to fit some form of Animal Collective related music into the wedding somehow. And so I managed to talk her into, is there like a name, Greg, maybe for like when, like the bridesmaids and groomsmen walk down the aisle? Is there a name for that portion of the wedding ceremony?
Probably. I don't
Probably.
know.
Whatever. We don't know. But whatever that portion's called, I managed to finagle getting to the point, and it was great
That's a
because
cool wedding.
it was cool. And it was cool because like the back it up part, like the groomsmen and the bridesmaid like walked down the aisle backwards, and it was pretty cool. So
Well, it's good that
Just
you
wanted
picked
to throw
that,
that.
not Danger.
no, yeah, that would have been
A song about divorce, right as you're about
prelude
to
to
get
disaster.
married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Winding up disaster. No, I was going to actually, we were talking about Danger, and I wanted to point out sort of the, kind of like how Person Pitch, if you go and you find these original samples and then you get into the original artist stuff, there is something sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, but I really enjoyed being able to do that, and that was something that I got to enjoy with Reset as well. Specifically Danger, because the sample is Love of My Life by the Everly Brothers. And I didn't really know that I knew a few songs by them until I, heard Danger and then went and checked out the original. And so I actually got into them because of this album. And, maybe that's like a cultural blind spot, but they also weren't like, one of the biggest. They were probably big for like, 1963, but in modern day, it's not like, they're not like really a household name. So it's just like, whenever you get tired of listening to the Reset version, you can just go and listen to the original and, pick out the parts you want to, add your own melodies from the Reset. And, it's just, it's enjoyable to have sort of that range of stuff to be able to reference and pull enjoyment from that isn't just it in sampled form. Because, I feel like a lot of sampled music doesn't really give you that same experience. But I can also understand why it comes across like this, because it is so minimal in how they, use the loops and all that. And also probably was a pain in the ass to license all of them, and probably not cheap. So that's probably why they did 4 versions of it, Jordan, so that they could get all their money back.
But
that could be the case.
Without wanting to turn the tables, but I'm just curious to know what your opinion on stuff that I mentioned before about like Pete's productions with Noah. What you guys think about?
I can't say that there's anything that they've done together that I've disliked, except for the transitional tracks on Grim Reaper, like Shadow of the Colossus, and I
thought Davy Jones' Locker was your favorite track.
I don't have them saved on Apple Music. I just don't. It just they're superfluous. The fact that the what's the one that it's like the banger, like the house banger song from like the last part of
Principe Real.
Yeah, that one. The fact that starts out with that sound effect is bad enough, but I'll live with it. But other than that, no, I really do enjoy the whatever Sonic Boom is able to conjure up with his mind that has been putting out all these psychedelic sounds and stuff for years. And I personally don't see the like umbrage that people take with, like, for example, the Tomboy single mixes compared to the album version. People, like you were saying, like demos and live versions and demoitis and all that. Like, I understand, I've experienced that with other albums, but that one in particular was retroactive. So but that one in particular, literally I've lined the two up and there's barely a difference. So it really does seem like splitting hairs compared to like, the glitchier side of the live version of Grim Reaper compared to the sort of like more liquidy version that is on the final album. So I enjoy all of it. There's nothing really other that I can say anything bad about. So it's a W, honestly, whenever Sonic Boom works with Panda Bear. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, I think in Tomboy, I don't see much difference, but I think I don't know if you guys saw him playing Green Reaper before the release. I saw him in Lisbon, and I think the Green Reapers one, they were pretty dark before Pete's touch. I remember it, and I thought they were more like hip hop oriented, and so I do think that Pete not change it, but he after. Let's just say that the studio version it's a bit different from the live version, but I always thought it's cool that we have the two. So
yeah, it's especially cool that he was uploading the All Tomorrow's Parties rehearsals on Collected Animals, so we had those, or I say we. Yeah. I honestly, like, my Animal Collective history is that I didn't get into them until like the end of 2014. So that was like right when all the Mr. Noah EP Grim Reaper stuff was rolling out, and I didn't know. I was still on like Centipede Hurts Strawberry Jam territory. I wasn't that deep into the rabbit hole yet. So I think maybe I was like, oh, there's a new Panda Bear album out. Let me check it out. I never heard any of his solo stuff. And then by the time I got to Mr. Noah, I was like, Jesus Christ. Just like scared me, all those like whining dogs. So it took me a while to come back, but then you get to like Tropic of Cancer and Selfish Gene and all the like, you know, pillars that hold that album up, and you just fall in love with it. But I listened to the solo stuff, I think, in a weird order. I think I did like Grim Reaper, then Person Pitch, then Tomboy, like years later, and then of course the new stuff as it was rolling out, because he's like the Energizer Buddy. He can't stop writing songs, whether it's for his own stuff or for collabs, like one-off singles, because he's got like at least 4 or 5 albums worth of solo collabs, just like over the years of either like a straight up remix or a remix in the Panda Bear sense, where he just takes one tiny part of the original and writes a completely new song with it, and it doesn't resemble the original at all, but in the best way. So.
And in your Jordan, when did you start listening? It was before that?
Yeah. So I got into Animal Collective around 2005. Yeah, 2005. A friend of mine, his dad showed him Sung Tongs, and then he showed me Sung Tongs. And like listening to Leaf House and Who Could Win a Rabbit, instantly I was like, whoa, like what is this? This is amazing. And then it was like Feels had already come out. So then I listened to that after kind of ingesting Sung Tongs, and I was like, whoa, this is absolutely beautiful music. And it maintains some of the spirit of what I heard in Sung Tongs, but it's just such a different palette altogether that I was like, what the fuck is this band on? Like, this is like unlike anything I've heard before. So then I started going into like Spirit They're Gone, Dance Manatee. I'm like, what in the fuck? So yeah, it was kind of around then where I was just like really getting into the band. But I was fortunate enough to see them on some of their kind of more like noteworthy, you know, moments in their career, like right before they released Merryweather. I got to see them play, you know, a live show where they were like kind of testing out, like Strawberry Jam hadn't even come out yet, and they were testing songs from Merryweather that would eventually come out on that. And it was like, it was kind of funny because like me and my friends are there at the show being like blown away. Like, these songs are so good, thinking that these are about to drop on Strawberry Jam. And then like that album came out like 2 weeks later, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, none of those songs that we heard are on this. Like, mind you, it's a great album, but we're like, where's Daily Routine? Where's Brother Sport? So it's pretty funny that we had to, you know, wait a number of years to actually get those studio versions. But I think it was around that time where it was like Person Pitch came out as well, and I ended up like I was living in Florida at the time, and I went to like invite only like Panda Bear show at a Art Basel performance, and it was insane. I got so drunk. There's a funny story that I won't be sharing today about that because it's fucking embarrassing. Should I say
Why
it?
bring it up then?
Should I say it?
This is your podcast, Jordan.
All right. Well, I have to be careful.
Story.
Publicly. Okay, so I
just change the names like Scorsese does.
Change my own name to something else.
Sure.
So
Jordan Belfort.
So I was
change the location too.
There you go. This happened in Kansas, actually.
Yeah, I'll just change the whole thing, and it'll be so hard to decipher what happened.
And the years, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy named Greg was in Kansas, and he went to see a Slipknot show. Now, I'll just say how it was. So I went down to Miami to go see this show, and I think it was actually through Collected Animals. Someone had posted something saying like, oh shit, if you're in Miami on this day, Panda Bear's playing like a kind of secret show. It's like invite only, and you have to email this like weird email address. So I saw it, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? I may as well shoot my shot. I sent an email, hey, I'd love to be on the guest list or whatever, big fan. And then I went about my day. I thought like there's no chance that I'm going to get like a response from this email. So I start like day drinking, you know, and lo and behold.
Story. I remember this story.
Now you know why I don't want to tell it.
Well, no, go ahead.
So I come back home like, I don't know, early evening, and my ex-girlfriend who was living with me at the time, I come in and she's like, you're not going to believe it, but you got an email back from Panda Bear and you're on the guest list for the show tonight. I'm like, what? I'm like, and I'm not living in Miami. I'm living like an hour's drive away from Miami. So I'm like, holy shit, I can't even drive to Miami because I'm like drunk. So I'm like, can you drive me to Miami? And she's like, like I don't know. Like, am I gonna? She's like, am I gonna be able to get into the show? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I would assume that any guest list includes a +1, but I really, can't say, and I don't think emailing this address is gonna, give us any more answers. So I was like, let's just try it. And so I think she realized how desperate I was to go, because I was like, probably like, listen, if you're not gonna drive me, I'm gonna figure out some other way to get there. So she drove me. Turns out I did get a +1, so she was able to come in to the show with me, and it was like this super cool, like psychedelic venue. Like they had like green, like astroturf grass on the inside of the venue. People were like walking around without shoes, and they had all these like digital screens on all the walls, and they were serving free alcohol. Like just people were walking around with platters of free booze. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm already drunk. Like, here we go. So I got like smashed, like just like super fucking hammered. And then we left, saw the show. It was awesome. My ex-girlfriend drives us back to our place. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, like coming out of like, my sleep, and I'm like, whoa, like, okay, hey, I'm in bed now. Or, wait, like what happened last night? Oh yeah, I got drunk. Wait a minute, what? I'm like trying to piece together the night. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Like I went to that Panda Bear show, invite only. Like how fucking cool was that? I was like, right, and all the free booze. I didn't even end up spending any money at the thing. I was like, this is incredible. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, did anything fucked up happen or something? I'm like, not that I can recall. I was like, it was a perfect night. I was like, nothing bad happened. It was a perfect night. So then I walk out of my room, and my ex-girlfriend's like sitting in front of the computer on one of these like swivel chairs, and she fucking swivels around. And the first thing she says to me is like, do you remember what you did last night? And I'm like, what? So I'm like, no. And she's like, look in the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and in the bathtub is like one of the drawers from my dresser with like all my t-shirts, and they're all soaking wet. And I was like, I don't get it. What the hell is this all about? She's like, you don't remember what happened? I was like, no. She's like, you don't remember? I was like, I'm telling you, I don't. So she fills in the blanks, tells me that after we went to bed, she wakes up in the middle of the night, like all the lights are out in the room, and she just hears like shit like crashing around in the room. And she's like, what the hell? So she turns on the light, and she just sees me just like walking around the room, like knocking shit over. And then she sees me open the drawer to my dresser, and then I just pull down my pants and start pissing on all of my own shirts. And then she's like, what are you doing? And then I look at her and I go, I'm making a YouTube. And then I just fucking casually push the dresser drawer back in that's filled with piss and all my t-shirts, and then I just go back to bed.
Oh, it's a shame that you didn't record it for you.
I know. Yeah, if I had a camera, it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed that part. That's a great
It was
start.
a missed opportunity. Yes, yeah.
It was a pissed opportunity.
It certainly was a pissed opportunity.
You were pissed.
Well, I was pissed in many ways. I was pissed drunk, and then I was really pissed off that all my shirts had like piss all over.
Yeah, it was interesting that you went for the shirts. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't go straight to the bathroom. You had to get the t-shirts
I felt
to
that in
mark
that moment,
your territory.
it was my own territory to begin with. I don't know why
Oh
I
yeah,
had.
yeah.
Yeah, just double down. Make sure no one's taking those shirts.
Well, Lucas, that's why your shirt is yellow, right? It was a white shirt when you got it.
Full of piss. Yeah. Have you guys listened to that Tim Heidecker album about Piss Club?
No, but I've seen his
No.
stand-up
Hot
special where
Piss,
his like
yeah.
encore is he sings Hot Piss and
Yeah,
another one,
yeah.
the Yellow River Boys.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a great
Oh,
album. I love that
should-
album. Sometimes I listen while I work. I love to singing about piss. It's really fun.
Well, somehow we've devolved from talking about reset to
Oh, yeah,
piss. So
yeah.
I guess let's
Let's
reset
reset.
the conversation and
Sure. I just thought about maybe quickly maybe tell how I ended up learning about Animal Collective. It's not a good story as Jordan one, but I was back in Brazil, and I remember a friend of mine telling me about Animal Collective, and the way that he described it more like, oh, it's this band where people from different parts of the world come together and do music. So, the way that I imagined it was like somebody comes from Africa, somebody from. I thought it was a way, and I thought it was more people, and then the first time that I saw them playing was a rerun of David Letterman when they were playing the Summertime Clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can find this in
And,
your local wallpaper section of your supermarket. That's the joke that Letterman made.
Look for it in the wallpaper department of your favorite store. Please welcome Animal Collective.
And I really liked that performance because since now I work with visuals, that they had those dancers in the background, and then they released the video of the song with those dancers too, and that was like so visually inspiring. But the thing that, because at that time when I was really young, my dream was to be a filmmaker, to shoot video, not animation. Something that I really don't want to do now because I'm not really good with growing up. I found out that it's way more like a teamwork, that you need to deal with more people, and I'm not that good doing that. So I much prefer to be in my corner in the computer. But at that time, I was like discovering filmmakers, and then something that really broke my brain that I said at the beginning was Oddsack, because I already knew like avant-garde cinema. I already knew like David Lynch and Jodorowsky and Cronenberg and stuff like that. But even knowing that, like, I never saw something that was like abstractly, visually like that. I remember like going frame by frame and seeing how much density and how much details Danny put it on doing that. Something that I think that it's pretty unique in his career. I think that what he did with Oddsack is pretty unique. So that's, I guess that's when that idea of like working with visuals for music was really born in me. So, and I really love those tracks too, Screens, and I think they are a really, really great piece of music too. So but we can go back to Reset now. It's
That's cool though. That's like you don't hear too many people like saying that kind of like a major jumping off point was Oddsack. I feel like that's one of those, because like I mean, for a lot of the, let's just call them normies that like listen to Merriweather and that was it. I feel like Oddsack was kind of
Merriweather
that
is
turned them
2009
completely,
and Oddsack is 2010.
Exactly. It's like everyone that was
thing
like, My Girls is a banger. Then they're like, what is this? And then Centipede Hurts. And they're like, okay, no more.
To go from like, I love my wife and my daughter to nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. A horror.
Yeah,
film.
but that's how you put it. For normies, they're like that, and they were probably looking for another pop album. But for me at the time, I was craving like experimentations and new stuff, and so for me, Oddsack was like a full meal.
Yeah, same. It's Have you ever tried watching Oddsack on like shrooms or acid?
No, never tried with any drugs. No. What did you do, Jordan?
Well, thankfully, it would appear that alcohol is the only
time.
Yeah, where did you piss?
I don't even know. It's still a mystery.
An open field somewhere with some fire twirlers in the background.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I did a bunch of shrooms and I was like trying to think of something to watch because my wife was like going to bed and I was like, all right, what am I going to do? So she was like giving me ideas of stuff to watch. And she was like, why don't you watch, there's this show on Netflix with a bunch of baby animals. It's like a documentary series. You can't go wrong with a bunch of baby animals. You're not going to see anything scary when you're looking at a bunch of baby animals. So I click on this show and the fucking episode is an episode about baby ants, which look exactly like adult ants, except there's just more of them and they're like all over the place. And I'm like, this is just fucking terrifying to watch this on shrooms. It's like bad idea.
And if they have like those macro shots,
they did.
Right
close up.
Oh,
Look at
God.
fucking little, yeah. But no, I ended up changing the gross baby ant thing because I was like, I'm already in this zone. I may as well just throw on Oddsac. And I actually found it to be really awesome. Like it wasn't. I think that I've always kind of thought like, man, I should do like some hard psychedelics and like watch Oddsac. But then I've always been a little afraid because I'm like, what if, the wild card there? What if it's a nightmare? And then what if it leaves like a bad impression of that piece of art, in my mind? But the complete opposite. I actually found it like that fucking like what feels like 10-minute long, like just visual freak out section in the middle it was like someone was massaging my brain. It was awesome. Yeah, I recommend it.
That's cool.
You heard it here.
Good to know. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially the ending where it's a screaming nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't. I feel like I've seen it sober and it's seemed scarier to me. So.
Well, you've also seen like every horror movie ever made. So
yeah,
I feel like you're somewhat desensitized to.
I am, yeah.
Like if I even got to the part where we like in Kindle Song where they have like the 6 different like geologist scare faces, I'd be like, nope, done, can't do it.
That's like one of my favorite parts. I love that.
Yeah,
that song too is so good. The Kindle Song.
But have you listened to Reset on psychedelics, Jordan? That's the real question.
No, just alcohol and weed. But I listen to it like honestly like every other day. I feel like it's probably the most like kind of recent Animal Collective universe related album that I throw on the most, because I feel like you listen to time skips and stuff like that. It's a bit more. It's a lot more to digest, and like you got to be in a certain zone. You can't just slap on like Defeat, and be like, all right, here's my like super depressing 20-minute Odyssey. Mm-hmm. Like Reset, it feels immediate, and I feel like their songs are just so catchy. I'm like not even joking. Like pretty much every other night, you'll find me down here in this basement studio, like throwing on the record, walking back and forth here with a beer and a joint in my hand, just fucking singing at the top of my lungs to every single song.
That's how to live.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it. Well, I think, yeah, I agree with what you said earlier, Lucas. It is very much a summer album, which was kind of annoying that they only dropped it like halfway through August. It's like, well, great. Now I only have like a month left of summer to really enjoy the vibes. But yeah, like Jordan said, it just got a lot of replay. I feel like when he dropped the digital version of Day with the Homies, I had a similar thing but that one is only 5 songs, so I played that one out way too fast. But maybe it's just because I'd been so addicted to the vinyl version that we had for like 18 months before the digitals. So.
Yeah. I don't think that I listened to the digital that much too, probably because of the same reason.
Yeah, but it is cool that Reset works a lot as a bridge between like the Grim Reaper stuff and like I guess you could say Sinister Grift, in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of like winding down to what Sinister. Oh, I guess Buoys is in there in the middle somewhere. Whatever, you get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll say that song on Pete's album, Just a Little Piece of Me, also helps connect a little bit.
That's true.
Yeah, I really like the layered harmonies in that one. I mean, it's kind of like also Frightened, where it's just like the entire thing is one long harmony. Speaking of the Everly Brothers.
Yeah. So, what is the future? What does the future hold for Studio Sparks? What does the future hold for you, Lucas? Do you have more Animal Collective related projects in the works? I know you just did some visuals on the new Bright Eyes video that came out, which is super cool. I mean, Bright Eye. Were you a fan of Bright Eyes before that?
A huge fan, even before Animal Collective, and it was pretty similar with how we started working with Animal, because like we started working with Pete, and then we did that video for Animal Collective, and here we started working with Alex Orange Drink. I know you've heard about him. He helped them put together their last album, and he's a really interesting. He has a condition that he cannot eat a lot of things, and one of the main things that he needs to have in his system is orange. That's why his name it's Alex Orange Drink. And recently, I think like 2 years ago now, he on top of having that condition, he also got cancer. So I saw him speaking about all of that on a podcast, on a Bright Eyes podcast. And I wrote to him and I was like, yeah, I heard I had like cancer in my family. So I was like really, I identify with some stuff that he was telling. And I was like, if you ever need anything, oh, we'd love to do something for you. And during that period, he used that dark period to record a lot. Like he did like, I think he told us that he has like 5 albums because he used that to get distracted and to survive so he was putting together an album, and then the first track was with Connor Overs, like the one was with Noah, and then he told us about us to the Bright Eyes team, and then they got in touch. They filmed this video in New York, and they wanted to add some animation. So it was like a small project for us. It was just like some title animation, but yeah, it was really cool to be part of that. But about our future, we never know. We never know like what stuff is going to pop, but what we are doing now, this place that I am now, it's we started doing like when we did those Sonic Boom videos. I was in a small apartment, and then we moved to a house, and then we built our studio in a room there, and now we found this spot here in Porto that it's the first time that we are separating the work life from the regular life, and this space it's a pretty big space, so we are using not only as an office for us, but we also want to do like a thing for the arts and music community here. So we want to have exhibitions, gigs, hopefully, workshops, stuff like that. So we are kind of expanding, for not only something for us too, but for and it's not just something for people here from Porto. We are like accepting. We just like put an open call for people to send stuff that they wanted to sell here, and we are open to receive things for all over the flat earth. That was a joke.
Okay, good.
We'll end the podcast right here.
We had to get a new guest. This has gone horribly awry.
No, that's really cool. That's really cool that you're kind of building like a community beyond even like the bubble of what community you have like there in your locality, which is sick. And I gotta say, you said you're in the north of Portugal. I was in Lisbon 3 months ago. It was the first time. I actually grew up in Spain. I grew up in Malaga, but I'd never been to Portugal. And I gotta say, I don't know what your neck of the woods looks like, but Lisbon was absolutely beautiful, and it was fucking raining every day, and it was beautiful. So I want to go back. And
that's pretty rare there. No, it normally rains more here in the north than in Lisbon. But we're glad that you had a good time.
Yeah, everyone that was there was saying also that it was super rare. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if this makes me feel better. They're like, this never happens. So it's just your shitty luck, I'm like, great.
It's you. The rain cloud followed you over from Canada on the plane, just hovering over the plane the entire way.
And it turns out it was actually piss. It was a piss cloud because of
a piss cloud. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I'm not going to riff anymore on that one. Lucas, we really appreciate you joining the show. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon, hopefully. And
so much,
we look forward to anything you do in the future, because clearly
and
you've got the sauce, as the kids say.
They got the sauce.
Thanks.
You got the Riz. You got
you got Moxie, kid.
You got the skibbity Riz. That's what the kids say these days.
I just want to say that those things that I was mentioning about this place, it goes by you guys and everybody who listen to this, and it's something that we're building for other people to use for the community. So any ideas or anything that is useful, please get in touch with us. We are down to whatever.
Where can people find your stuff?
We're putting together. We thought about like creating a separate Instagram for this, but we are using the Studio Sparks Instagram, which I don't even know what it is. I think it's underscore. No, it's Studio underscore Sparks underscore something like that. I'll send you. You put it on descriptions. I think it's worked.
Is the official name Studio Sparks or Sparks Studio?
Yeah, it is now Studio Sparks, but for a while at the beginning was the other way. So, but now I think it's Studio Sparks.
I like it better.
Nice. Yeah, it's got a good ring to it.
Plus, now you're literally a studio. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
well, we appreciate your time, and like I said, we look
Yes.
forward to anything Animal Collective related or anything visual, because, like I said, it's all it's eye candy is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more literal.
You're making a lot of stoned people very, very happy.
That's good to know. A lot of people are pissing in clothes and put fire on their houses.
Yeah,
That's great.
exactly.
That's great.
Putting
That's
out
great.
fires by pissing on it.
And really, isn't that what any artist wants to accomplish in this world?
Oh yeah.
To put out fires with piss. Anyway, thanks for watching A
Yeah,
Musician and a
let's go.
Filmmaker. We'll be back next time with Danny Perez. And once again, thanks, Lucas, and have a good rest of your existence.
Yes.
We'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
dude. It's been a blast.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.